like agitators Reverend Al Sharpton, MSNBC, and the Reverend Jesse Jackson's inflammatory, divisive race baiting is producing its inevitable fruit. In Florida, 3 disaffected black youths viciously beat a white cracker student on a school bus. Where's Reverend Al now?
But there are still questions about whether the bus driver could have done more to stop the attack. News Channel 8's Yolanda Fernandez has new information on this investigation.
Gulfport police recently released surveillance video from the school bus that shows the driver's perspective of the beating that day. In the video from July 9th, the victim is the one sitting in the second seat of the Pinellas school bus with his head down. The violence starts as soon as he stands up to get off the bus. The bus driver, John Moody, yells for somebody to try to stop them and calls for help. The punches and kicks continue, and the victim falls between the seats. At one point, you can hear his screams. Then he again calls dispatch to verify the address.
And what is the deal with Trayvon Martin attacking Ted Nugent from beyond the grave?
Well, what we're seeing here is we're seeing that Toad's Place, which was considered by the New Haven community to be a community center welcoming of all people, broadcasting that they're inviting a racist bigot, a fascist to come perform on their...
A racist bigot? A fascist? Ted Nugent is the farthest thing from a fascist that there is. Speaking of Trayvon Martin, the race baiters and the media ignored the facts, which paint a very different picture of Trayvon than the shining example of a good kid rising above the pitfalls of the black community. If that's true, it doesn't say much for the black youth community, especially with the recent case of these 3 disaffected black youths who pummeled a white student on a Florida school bus. Why didn't the Social Welfare Department of Children and Family Services investigate Trayvon's dysfunctional home life? Trayvon's parents should be held responsible for their poor parental guidance and discipline. Trayvon was a good kid who was suspended from school 3 times for being caught painting graffiti and possessing a burglary tool, a flathead screwdriver, and 12 pieces of women's jewelry Martin insisted did not belong to him. He was also suspended for skipping school and showing up late to class. Most recently, in February 2012, Trayvon was suspended again when school officials found a pipe and traces of marijuana. All of this, and Trayvon is not grounded, there can be no dispute Trayvon's discipline problem was ignored. His tearful parents should be charged with child neglect, not saying their beloved son is the victim of a smear campaign. Like there was no smear campaign against Zimmerman, right? The story of the most recent beating of this white student by 3 black disaffected youths has already taken shape. It's already been dismissed as racially motivated, and authorities and the media are blaming the bus driver for not intervening, which he was not legally obligated to do. What if during that struggle, while Trayvon Martin was smashing Zimmerman's head on the pavement, Trayvon had wrestled the gun away and killed Zimmerman? How would Trayvon be painted then? As a troubled, disassociated black youth, a victim of society's moral decline and the widening class gap between white and black. Certainly not a racist who refers to white people as crackers. Ironically, there are allegations that Trayvon Martin attacked a bus driver as well.
You gotta get somebody here quick. If I beat this boy to death over there, please get somebody here quick. If they still do it, I know I can do it. Let's just get somebody in a hurry.
These 3 black bullies were white, beating a black student on the bus, and a white bus driver did the same thing. The race card would be thrown in front. The bus driver colluded with the children, watching them, goading them on, letting them beat up the black boy. Al Sharpton would be saying, "He stood by and watched as this boy was beaten, nearly killed." But no, It was a black man watching 3 black kids beat the hell out of a white kid. And he was afraid. I mean, he had a rational reason to be afraid, but nobody would accuse him of being racist and that he wanted to watch them beat that white boy. Is anyone really surprised that after all the biased, racially divisive media propaganda surrounding the Zimmerman verdict, that there would be an increase in violence against whites? 5 months after the Trayvon Martin shooting on July 26, 2012, Obama furthered racial division by signing an executive order to create the African American Education Initiative. The order created yet a new dysfunctional and useless federal bureaucratic fail which does little to improve the quality of black education and much to give a green light for black students to misbehave at school. It is then not surprising that these 3 disaffected black youths would pummel a white student on a school bus in Florida. The fact that the Obama administration and the media have kept hush-hush on the Florida school bus beating and the apparent consequences of this executive order amplifies a greater, more sinister agenda. It's funny how the media spins these stories. Isn't that true?
We gotta get somebody here quick. They're about to beat this boy to death over here. Please get somebody here quick. If they still do it, I know I can do it. Let's just get somebody in a hurry.
According to Pinellas school bus driver policy, the driver's first duty is to call dispatch and only has to step in if he thinks it's safe and he's not required to intervene. But in an earlier interview, Gulfport Police Chief Robert Vincent said Moody took no action to help the victim even after the teens left the bus.
There was clearly an opportunity for him to intervene and or check on the welfare of the children in this case, or the child in this case, and he didn't make any effort to do so. So that's what we want to bring to the attention of the prosecutor.
Gulfport police investigators met with prosecutors last week to turn over this video as evidence on a possible child neglect charge. Now it's in the hands of the state attorney's office to determine whether the school bus driver will be charged. In Gulfport, Yolanda Fernandez, News Channel 8.
Incredible. The horrific actions of these 3 bullies and the whole thing in the media about bullying. What a crock of shit that is. They're bullying this kid. They're beating him up. I mean, this is incredible. These 3 kids beat this other poor kid, and the police are only concerned with the fact that the bus driver took no action. He should have. Whereas in the part of Trayvon Martin, he shouldn't have. See how insane this is? The bus driver should have done something to stop the assault. But in Trayvon Martin's case, Zimmerman should not have followed. He was told not to. So it just shows the hypocrisy of the interpretations of our legal system that have been so distorted and skewed and twisted for agenda of the political powers that are in force in that particular town or jurisdiction. And in this case, clearly it's more important to prosecute the bus driver for not helping the white student being beaten by the 3 black kids. And that's what they should focus on, instead of the fact that these 3 bullies beat this poor white kid nearly to death. I mean, it doesn't take much. What about that soccer coach? The kid hit him once in the head, killed him. Doesn't take much. That's the truth. And the media go along with they're baited with the same agenda. They're covering the fact that it has to do with the prosecution of this careless bus driver who wasn't protecting his kids. And then they speak about bullying and do documentaries and TV segments, news segments on bullying in school. I guess 3 kids ganging up on one other kid isn't bullying. That's just assault. Wake up, everybody. We're being lied to in a major way. And there's a reason. They want us divided.
We have before us the
fearful,
opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN.